He was rejected by Chelsea and Manchester City in his youth, was difficult to manage, and played 3 years in England's second division. By every logical measure, Michael Olise should not exist as a top 5 player in world football. And yet, this season, no player in Europe's top 5 leagues has been involved in more goals than him. Not Mbappe, not Vinicius, not Bellingham. So how did the most rejected kid in London become the player Real Madrid are willing to spend 165 million euros on? And what exactly did every academy in England fail to see? Hammersmith, West London, December 12th, 2001. Michael Olise is born into a family that does not really belong anywhere. His father, Vincent, is Nigerian, born in Nigeria, raised in Ghana, and settled in England. His mother is French, of Algerian descent. She speaks French at home. She raises her sons on Zidane and Henry highlight tapes, on the idea that Paris is a kind of promised land they happen to live next door to. By 6, Michael is playing for Hayes and Yading, a modest local club nobody is watching. By 7, he is also training at Arsenal's academy, 2 clubs at once. This is normal in London. Every kid with a touch is being scouted by somebody, and Michael has a touch. A scout named Sean Conlon sees him. Conlon has spent years scouring London for talent, and when he watches this small, quiet boy do impossible things with a football, he does what scouts do. He signs him. Then he convinces Vincent Olise to pull Michael out of both Heston and Arsenal and send him somewhere serious. In 2009, at 7 years old, Michael Olise crosses London to join Chelsea, one of the best academies in the world, the factory that produces Premier League starters by the dozen. It would be 7 of the worst years of his life. Here is the problem with being a generational talent at 7 years old. Everything is easy. The ball obeys you. The other kids look slow. The coaches praise you. And so slowly, you stop trying. Why would you? You're already better than everyone. This was Olise's first problem at Chelsea. He was so good, he didn't see the point of pushing himself. The second problem was worse. He was painfully, almost pathologically, shy. He didn't speak in the locker room. He didn't socialise. Sometimes, he didn't even greet his teammates. He just put his boots on and played. In another era, this might have read as focus, as the quiet hunger of a kid who only cared about the game. Instead, the coaches at Chelsea decided it read as arrogance, disinterest, bad attitude. Imagine being 8 years old and being told you have a bad attitude because you're too shy to say hello. He shared a dressing room at this academy with a boy named Musiala, who would walk out of England, walk into Bayern Munich, and become one of the most exciting attackers on earth. Chelsea didn't get the message about Musiala either. They will, in time, become connoisseurs of this particular mistake. By the time Olise was 14, Chelsea have seen enough. They officially announce a mutual departure. Best for everyone, a clean break, a handshake. Translation, they let him go. To soften the blow, they kept his younger brother Richard at the academy. Imagine being 14, kicked out of the only club you've ever known, watching your kid brother walk through those gates every morning while you sit at home. And that somehow made it worse. After Chelsea, Conlon went to work. He got Manchester City to agree to a 6-month trial. A serious club, a serious chance. Olise travelled north, trained with City's youth setup, did everything that was asked of him. At the end of 6 months, City said the same word Chelsea had said. No. 2 of the biggest academies in the country. 2 rejections in less than a year. This is the moment a teenage career dies. Most kids in this position quietly disappear. Sunday League. A semi-pro contract somewhere. A life that never includes the words professional footballer. Conlon refused to let that happen. He organised exhibition matches, gathered the talents from his agency and invited scouts. They came, left baffled, told Conlon they couldn't understand how this kid wasn't already signed. Then they went home and signed nobody. So Conlon did the only thing left. He burned DVDs, real physical DVDs of Olise's best moments, and he started mailing them to a serious chance. Olise travelled north, trained with City's youth setup, did everything that was asked of him. At the end of 6 months, City said the same word Chelsea had said. No. 2 of the biggest academies in the country, 2 rejections in less than a year. This is the moment a teenage career dies. Most kids in this position quietly disappear. Sunday League, a semi-pro contract somewhere, a life that never includes the words professional footballer. Conlon refused to let that happen. He organised exhibition matches, gathered the talents from his agency and invited scouts. They came, left baffled, told Conlon they couldn't understand how this kid wasn't already signed. Then they went home and signed nobody. So Conlon did the only thing left. He burned DVDs, real physical DVDs of Olise's best moments, and he started mailing them to every club in England, one after another. Hours of editing for a single 15-second clip of a pass no 15-year-old should be able to make. A sales pitch in a jewel case. Most of those DVDs went into the bin, one didn't. In 2017, Reading Football Club, then in the Championship, said yes. Not a Premier League club, not even close. Reading were a mid-table second-tier side whose biggest claim to fame was almost getting promoted a few years earlier. For a boy who had grown up in the Chelsea academy, this was a long way down. But Reading offered him something nobody else had, a path. A real mapped-out path from the academy to the first team. They were not promising him stardom, they were promising him a chance. Something changed in him. The kid for whom everything came easily was gone. In his place was a kid who had been told no twice by the biggest clubs in England and who had spent 6 months wondering if his career was already over. That kid had something to prove. On March 12, 2019, at 17, he made his first team debut against Leeds United. That summer, Reading offered him a 3-year senior contract. He became the youngest player in the Championship that season to make more than 1 appearance. But his manager, Mark Bowen, noticed a problem. With the ball at his feet, Olise was the best player on the pitch. The moment he lost it, he strolled back as though defending was somebody else's problem. So Bowen sent him down, back to the under-23 team, to learn what every professional has to learn, that you do not get to play if you do not run. Remember this moment, we'll be back. Something strange happened to Olise after that demotion. His teammates started describing him as the hardest worker in training. First in, last out. The kid who used to drift through sessions was now hunting every ball like it owed him money. The talent was still there. Now there was something underneath it. He also stopped celebrating his goals. Nobody understood why. Teammates asked him. He did not give them an answer. He would just score, jog back to the halfway line and wait for kick-off. No smile, no fist pump. Like he had expected, the goal was mildly annoyed it took so long and had places to be. That coolness became his trademark. It is still his trademark. Around this time, he made the decision that would define the rest of his career. Born in London, raised in London, eligible for England, Nigeria, Algeria and France. By the strict logic of football economics, he should have chosen England. He chose France. Not because of strategy, because his mother had raised him in French, because his idols were Zidane and Henry, because every summer when his family went home, that is where he felt most himself. Nigeria came calling later, including him on a reserve list for the World Cup qualifiers. Olise did not even consider it. His first professional goal came in September 2020, a volley against Barnsley. Of course it was. In his final season at Reading, he scored every one of the 7 goals he would score for the club, plus 12 assists. The league named him its Young Player of the Year. He was 19. By December 2020, Paolo Maldini, the sporting director of AC Milan, wanted to sign him. The plan was to loan him to a Serie B club to acclimatise. 6 months later, that plan would look hilariously cautious. In July 2021, Crystal Palace paid roughly €10 million to activate his release clause. Olise was going to the Premier League. The same league that had let him go was about to find out what it had thrown away. Patrick Vieira was the new Crystal Palace manager in 2021, and Michael Olise was his first signing. Vieira, the great destroyer of Arsenal's invincible midfield, was not a man known for excessive sentimentality with teenagers. He looked at Olise and decided to bring him along slowly. For the first 5 months at Palace, the kid barely got more than 10 minutes off the bench at a time. It didn't matter. In October, he came on against Leicester, with Palace losing 2-0 and immediately scored on the rebound. Minutes later, he was involved in another goal. 40 minutes after walking on, he transformed the match. He'd come on against Arsenal and set up the winner. He'd come on against Manchester City and break their press. He produced a goal or an assist every 52 minutes he was on the pitch. Vieira eventually had no choice. The kid started. In January 2022, Palace travelled to Millwall in the FA Cup. The Den is one of the more openly hostile environments in English football. Olise stepped over to take a corner. Somebody in the stands threw a bottle at his head. He didn't react. He picked the bottle up, kicked it away and took the corner. Then, a few minutes later, he scored and assisted Palace's comeback. From his angle, he was just doing his job. From the home end's angle, he was the most insufferable teenager who had ever lived. Both interpretations were correct. Then an injury knocked him out and the momentum stalled until October of the following season. The 2022 to 2023 season was supposed to be his coronation. It was not. Palace were terrible, 4 wins in 13 games. By mid-season, Olise had 2 assists and a single goal, a stoppage-time long-range strike against West Ham that earned Palace their first away win of the year. Then came January, Selhurst Park, final minute. Free kick on the edge of the box, Manchester United are leading. The match is over, Palace are dead. Olise stands over the ball, takes one step and curls a free kick into the top corner so cleanly the United goalkeeper barely moves. The away end loses its mind. Olise jogs back to the halfway line as though he's just remembered where he left his keys. That goal got him Premier League Goal of the Month. The story changed. In April, he became the youngest player in Premier League history to record 3 open play assists in a single match, a 5-1 mauling of Leeds. He ended the season on 11 assists, the first Palace player ever to hit double figures in a Premier League campaign. Palace named him their Player of the Year. And then, in the summer of 2023, the moment arrived. Chelsea called Crystal Palace and activated his release clause. £35 million, wired across London. The club that had let him go at 14 now wanted him back at 21. Olise said no. He turned them down. He sent the money back. He signed a 4-year extension at Palace instead. Palace celebrated this publicly on social media. They did not need to say what it meant. The kid Chelsea threw out had just thrown them out in return. For Olise's enemies at Chelsea, this was not just a rejection, it was poetry. Up until 2023, the criticism of Olise had been consistent. Beautiful playmaker, magic feet, not enough goals. The 2023 to 2024 season opened with another injury because the universe is allergic to clean stories. When he came back transformed. In 19 Premier League appearances, he scored 10 goals and added 6 assists. He scored a brace against Manchester United. The kid who did not score, scored. His real arrival on the international stage came in the summer of 2024, the Paris Olympics. France assembled a young squad. The coach was Thierry Henry. The kid who had grown up watching Henry highlight tapes in his mother's kitchen was now being coached by him. Olise started every match. He scored twice. He provided 6 assists. France reached the final, where they lost to Spain and took silver. A month later, Didier Deschamps called him into the senior France squad. On September 6th, 2024, Michael Olise made his senior debut for France at the Parc des Princes against Italy, who had grown up dreaming of this, the kid who had celebrated his first professional goal with a shrug. He played for France, at home, in Paris. By the end of his Crystal Palace career, he had played 90 matches, scored 16 goals and provided 25 assists. Chelsea tried to sign him again, so did Arsenal, so did Manchester United, so did Newcastle. He went to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich paid €60 million for him in July 2024, a 5-year contract. New manager Vincent Kompany, a club coming off one of the most embarrassing seasons in its modern history. No Bundesliga after 11 consecutive titles, no Champions League, nothing. The signing of Olise was supposed to mark the start of a new era. The pressure on a 22-year-old who had never played a minute in Germany was, frankly, ridiculous. He didn't care. His debut came on August 16 in the German Cup. He came on as a substitute, and within 2 minutes had set up Kingsley Coman for the opener. On September the 14th, he scored his first Bundesliga goal. 3 days later, he scored his first Champions League brace. The week after that, he had 2 goals and 2 assists in a 5-0 destruction of Werder Bremen. He did whatever he wanted with their defence. One detail about him says everything. To this day, Michael Olise has no boot sponsorship. None. He plays in Nike boots, but with no commercial deal. He has been offered deals. He is a Champions League starter who finishes top 5 for the Ballon d'Or. There is a queue. He is not interested. Then Harry Kane got injured against Dortmund. In the 5 matches Kane missed, Olise produced 5 goal contributions. At 22, he became the youngest player in Bayern Munich's history to record 3 goal contributions in a single Champions League match. Then Jamal Musiala got injured too, just as Bayern needed a 6-point cushion to clinch the Bundesliga. The kid Bayern had paid €60 million for, the kid Chelsea had let go for free, dragged the title race over the line. He had 4 goals and 5 assists in his last 5 league games. Title secured. Final tally in his first season. 55 appearances, 20 goals, 20 assists. Bundesliga top assist provider with 15, nearly double the second place player. Bundesliga Young Player of the Season. Several German outlets called it the best debut season in Bundesliga history. And then 2025 to 2026 began, and somehow it got better. This season, no player in the top 5 European leagues has been directly involved in more goals than Michael Olise. Not Mbappe, not Vinicius, not Bellingham, Olise, the kid from Reading. Bayern signed Luis Diaz on the opposite wing, and German journalists have already started comparing the duo to Robben and Ribéry, the wingers who defined Bayern for a decade. Add Harry Kane, and the trio has combined for 128 goal contributions. The only attacking trio in modern history with more at this stage of a season is Barcelona's Messi, Suarez and Neymar. They are literally on pace with the greatest attacking trio in modern football. The moment that sealed it came in the Champions League. Round of 16, away at Atalanta, Olise scored twice and assisted once. Bayern won 6-1. Then came the Bernabeu. Bayern Munich had not won at the Bernabeu in 25 years. The fixture had become a curse. Olise spent the night tormenting Alvaro Carreras, Real Madrid's left back, into something close to a public meltdown. 20 seconds into the second half, he played the perfect ball for Konrad Laimer to make it 2-0. Bayern won 2-1. The curse broke. With that assist, Olise reached 29 for the season. According to Transfermarkt's count, the all-time single-season record is held by Lionel Messi with 32. Olise is on 29. There are nearly 2 months of the season left. Remember when Mark Bowen sent him back to the under-23s because he would not track back? In that match at the Bernabeu, Olise covered the 3rd most ground of any player on the pitch. Only Bayern's 2 defensive midfielders ran further. The lesson stuck. His current Bayern numbers, as of this season: 36 goals, 52 assists, a Bundesliga title, a German Super Cup, and a Real Madrid offer of €165 million sitting on the table, according to the German press. The kid Chelsea let go at 14 could walk into the Bernabeu next season as the most expensive winger on earth.